Mic check, mic check.
I got my glasses on. It was so bad before.
At the house or?
My friend's house. It was like Friday night. It was raining.
Mic check.
He is right here. So if you want to sit with us, you can sit over there.
I turned my.
Since we fish. Then I'll turn it over. Yeah, let me get the agenda. I'll open it. Secretary.
Brian, do you want
Then-
copies of my colorful packet?
And
Okay, now. this is- And I forgot to make a copy and seal it back.
go for it, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Can I get your attention? Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like very much to welcome each of you to this afternoon's meeting. And would ask you to join us as we repeat the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, and it's our pleasure to see so many citizens joining us this afternoon. At the moment, the board does not have a chair. I'm the secretary. So the judge, what's the judge?
It's gonna be me doing the swearing in. I am not a judge, but I'm a notary,
All
so
right, that'll
I'm
work.
eligible to swear
That
someone
will
in.
work, okay. And after the swearing in of our two members who have not been sworn in yet, I will then turn the meeting over to the new chairman. So if I can call upon you, Sarah, do the
So
swearing.
we've got Randy Pelton to be sworn in. So Randy, if you want to come down, and then after we swear you in, I'll get Joe. All right. So if you can place your right hand on the Bible, I'm going to read this to you and then I'll ask you if you agree. Ready? All right. I, Randy Pelton, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, that I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, and that I will well and truly execute the duties of the office of Chair of the Brunswick County Board of Elections to the best of my knowledge and ability, according to law, so help me God. Do you so swear?
I do.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank
Could I get you that? Go ahead and get your signature on those two, and I'll sign them. Oh, there you go. All right, Joe. Thank you, sir. Will you sign the other one too? I like to have two copies, one for me, one for you. I'll
It's
send
not
one home with you.
official.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Joe, if you'll put your right hand on the Bible. All right, I, Joe Myers, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, that I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, and that I will well and truly execute the duties of the office of member of the Brunswick County Board of Elections to the best of my knowledge and ability, according to law, so help me God. Do you so swear?
I do.
Congratulations, Joe. Welcome. I will. Two copies. You just sign both of those and I'll get my version signed. That's okay. Thank you.
While Joe is finishing the paperwork, I'd like to thank Mr. Lewis, our secretary, for the wonderful service he's provided as chair for the last, I was trying to figure it out, at 5 years, 4 years. And I sincerely hope that I can live up to the standards you've established over this time. Thank you for your service in the past.
Thank you very much. And congratulations to our new chair.
Thank you. All right, next item of business is the approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion on approval of the agenda?
So moved.
It's been moved. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Note that it is unanimous. Thank you. Next item is a preliminary hearing for the voter challenge of Michael Felmy to the voter registration of Lori Mabee Smith and Richard F. Smith Jr. Are Mr. Felmy or the Smiths in the audience? You are, what is your name, sir? Ms. Felby, I apologize for mispronouncing that. I'm lucky I can get my own name some days. All right. Mr. Batten,
Yes, sir.
our order of appearance is, order of procedure rather?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You could, first establish that the application.
Brian,
Microphone?
microphone.
Thanks. Well, to begin with, there's two challenges. If we can get a motion to consider them at the same time for preliminary hearing purposes.
Okay. Board would, chair would entertain a challenge to hear them both at the same time? Or a resolution, a motion, thank you.
I'll move that we hear them at the same time.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then next, the board should determine whether or not the challenges were properly filed.
Okay. And in our binders, under one of the yellow tabs is a preliminary hearing guide. We have to consider 5 items. The first one is the challenger, if the challenger is registered to vote in Brunswick County. Um, oh,
Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Mr.
Madam-
Felmley is
okay.
registered to vote in Brunswick County.
all right. We find that he is. The challenge form was used and completed, signed, and sworn by the challenger. Adam,
You should have a copy of the challenge form,
okay,
the third bright green sticky in your binder. So both challenges are right there.
okay. Yeah,
And that is the official challenge form.
okay.
Are we allowed to ask questions of the witness?
Certainly. I don't know. We
Of
have
me?
to swear him in or you, oh,
I
the
got sworn
witnesses?
in.
No,
Yeah.
Okay,
No, I just want to, I'm just gonna ask that the form as filled out, it conforms with this, the laws that you know it.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
and that would be for both challenge forms?
Yes, correct.
Okay, fine. Any other questions by any of the board members? Relative to that? Okay. So the question is, was the challenge form that was used completed, signed, and sworn in by the challenger? And Mrs. Levere's testimony is that it was. So make a resolution that we accept that item as a yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next item on the agenda, on the list is only one voter is challenged on each form. Mrs. Levere? That's
Yes,
correct,
that's
okay. We find that to be correct. And a statutory basis for a challenge is selected on the form. You found that to be correct?
Yes,
Okay. And the challenger was the challenge was filed by the voter registration deadline 25 days before the election.
yes.
Yes, it was. Okay. Any other questions from the board members? Okay. So all of the items were properly filed on the challenge. Any discussion on that? Okay. Probable cause, if the above filing requirements are met, which we found that they are, the county board should determine whether or not there is probable cause that the voter is not properly registered. Mr. Sir, if you could come up, please. And can you swear the gentleman in? Or am I going out of order here?
Nope.
Oh, no, you're
that's
fine.
I will let
Okay.
Brian swear him in.
Do you need somebody to swear in Mr. Philby?
It's just,
Felmley, yeah, Brian will do it. All right, left hand on the Bible, raise your right. All right. Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
All right.
Okay. Just forgive me for a moment. At this point, Mr. Philby, if you have any testimony you'd like to present,
I presented my testimony in
Okay.
a handwritten letter, which I know at least one person has read.
is there anything special you would like us to consider in the materials you submitted to us?
All of the enclosures, please,
Okay.
because it is, would you like me to continue, or I'm not quite familiar with the protocol, so.
That's
you're-
all right.
You're the boss.
I've been here for 12 years and this is only the second one of these I have ever done also. So we're in that same boat. So, Mr. Batten?
Yes, sir. Sir, if you could lay out why you think he's not a resident for the board, going
Okay.
through your information you've provided and what it is.
Right, this goes back years ago. And Mr. Smith claims 823 Ocean Boulevard West as his residence, when in fact, it's not his residence. His residence is in High Point, North Carolina. I monitored 823 Ocean Boulevard West from August of 2023 until December of 2024, and determined and came to the conclusion that Mr. Smith did not live at that house. Okay, that was not his domicile, which gave him the right to vote in the municipality of Holden Beach in accordance with Article 6 of the state constitution. Okay, so I then thought the easiest way to show that he was not a resident was to ask myself a question. Is he a resident of Holden Beach? That was my research question. My research thesis, very easily derived from there, was he is not a resident of Holden Beach. And from there, I provided with 16 enclosures showing that he is not a resident. To include one, which is kind of a crowning blow, which is a discussion during one of the commissioners' meetings in January of 2025, which documented from Lori Mabee Smith, his wife, that they did not live at 823 Ocean Boulevard West, that they lived in High Point, and that after she retired, when they came down to this area, Brunswick County, that their permanent residence was going to be on Stanberry Road on one of the two houses that they own, that they're never going to live there, that it's a rental. The second thing was 823 Ocean Boulevard West is run or owned, managed by a limited liability corporation of Sand Pebbles. Sand Pebbles LLC is registered under the state as a rental company, as is another company that he has, RNK Investments, which is another rental company. Now, he has made, is that a, okay,
I think that was somebody's phone. It wasn't a
Okay.
timer.
I thought I was on a 3-minute
No.
timer. or something.
No.
So his wife has documented this, and I know you can't, in a court of law, your family can't testify against you, or there's something like that, but this is a public conversation, an open public conversation, where his wife said, we don't live there. Also, his next door neighbor, Scott Jobber, had a discussion with him, and the conversation is in the book, and I can read in the package, and I can read it, but it basically says that he doesn't live there, it's a rental, and he rents it to get money to keep the house, all right? Now, I went all the way through these 16 enclosures to document and find issues which stated he is a resident of his house in High Point, North Carolina. So I don't know what else to do. This is not looking for a pound of flesh. I didn't mean to file a voter challenge against his wife, but I felt halfway through it that I had to, because she entered the conversation on Facebook during an official meeting. So that's basically the story.
All right. Do any of the board members have any questions for this gentleman? Paul?
Oh, oh. yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you.
No, no, no.
Okay.
I thought Brian was running the show here. Do you own a home, Mr. Felmy? Felmy?
I do.
And how many years have you owned such a home?
Excuse me,
How long have you lived in Holden Beach?
since 2012.
Okay. And are you aware of any other people who may own a home that's not owned by themselves individually?
You know, that's funny. I'll answer that question to the best of my knowledge, but I've not completed researching it. During our last municipal election, I've received the number of voters who voted by name, where they say they live on Holden Beach, and where their mail is sent to. Let me give you an example of what I'm finding. There are people who say that they're voters, they're a resident, their their
Domicile.
home, domicile is on Holden Beach. That's their resident, and they have no other residence for which they return to in accordance with Article 6 of the Constitution. But their mailing address is in Wappingers Falls, New York. Okay? Numerous numbers like that, numerous residents like that, and people who are registered to vote, who are, their lights are never turned on at night. Are you with me?
Yep.
And their mail is going to another state. So, yeah, I think there are.
Oh, but you don't know anyone personally that owns a piece of property
I do
that's
not.
held by, besides the Smiths?
I do not.
Thank you.
Mr. Lewis?
No, I don't have any questions at this time.
Have any questions right now? I don't either.
Okay. So, Mr. Batten, I believe I'm correct. Thank you, sir. You can sit down. I believe I'm correct that we have to determine whether there's probable cause at this point to proceed to an evidentiary hearing, or am I missing something?
Now you determine if there's probable cause or not to believe they are residents, or properly registered is what you're looking to determine.
Purpose here today is to determine whether or not there is sufficient evidence to proceed to an evidentiary hearing. Any discussion on the board members? Not hearing anyone. Do I hear a resolution to proceed to an evidentiary hearing?
Yeah, I make a motion to proceed to a
Okay.
evidentiary hearing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Vote was unanimous. We will proceed to an evidentiary hearing, and Mrs. Levere, as the director of our board, will take care of scheduling that and that as a future date.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
The next item on the agenda is the hearing for candidate challenge filed by Deborah Broomheller to the candidacy of Ghastly Slaughter Fitzhugh III for the office of Bald Head Island Council Member. Mr. Batten?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. First off, I believe Ms. Levere sent out a recommended order of proceedings for the board to consider. I think it would be good for the board to formally adopt that prior to proceeding.
Okay. In our binders, there is a orange tab that's order of proceedings. Has everybody a chance to locate that? I think it's down about the third or fourth tab. Okay. Chair,
Make a motion to accept the order of proceedings as written.
okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay,
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. While both hearings are issues of residency, there's two separate and distinct paths forward for each, this one being a candidate challenge. The burden of proof in this case is on the candidate, not the person who issued the challenge. What the board will do first is hear opening statements from the challenged candidate and then the challenger. Then you can call the challenged candidate back to present any evidence he may so desire. Then the challenger can present any evidence they desire, and then you can call them back. Obviously, you can ask questions of them both throughout, and then you can call them back to see if they have any summaries or closing statements they wish to provide.
okay. Is Mr. Fitzhugh here? Mr. Fitzhugh, if we could swear you in,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Batten?
Hold on, let me find it in my binder. Bear with me. Okay. Left hand on the Bible. Do you swear that the testimony that you are about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
All right.
Okay. And I neglected to properly introduce Mr. Batten to the audience earlier. He is our Brunswick County Attorney, and he's also the attorney for the Board of Elections. And Mrs. Levere is our director. All right. You have an opening statement, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you. After having a domicile in Florida, I decided early in 2025 that I should move my domicile to my home at 210 Portsmouth Way, Bald Head Island, North Carolina. It was based on the following factors. Number one, I'm not spending as much time in Florida as I expected, spending 3 or less months per year. I have a desire to spend more time in North Carolina, which is a reasonably close driving distance to my family in Virginia, my granddaughter, and 2 future grandchildren on the way. And I'm concerned that I would also be spending over 180 days in North Carolina, which would indicate that I'd need to file a tax return in North Carolina. So it makes sense to have my domicile in North Carolina. My Florida domicile ended on March 21st, 2025, which is the last day I spent in Florida this year. I've provided a statement under penalty of perjury that I've, number one, abandoned my domicile in Florida and do not have an intention to resume domicile in Florida. I've established domicile at my home at 210 Portsmouth Way, Bald Head Island. I intend to make 210 Portsmouth Way my permanent domicile, and I will file a 2025 tax return in the state of North Carolina. Additionally, I've submitted several documents to Ms. Levere. I think you probably have copies of these now. Some of those are a copy of my North Carolina driver's license with the real ID, North Carolina car registration. Actually have that updated as of today. If you need me to get that for you, I'm happy to do that. An auto insurance policy indicating that the coverage in the North Carolina coverage is under my new driver's license. A homeowner's policy indicating my coverage at 210 Portsmouth Way. I also have available a deed for 210 Portsmouth Way indicating it's owned by an LLC. I have a copy of the most recent annual report for that LLC, which shows me as the primary shareholder of the LLC, and is also shows that the address of the LLC is 210 Portsmouth Way. And then I have various utility bills and tax bills that indicate my current use of 210 Portsmouth Way as my residence. I will note that the challenge to my candidacy appeared to be based on 3 items. First, the deed of the property that was filed in 2023 said that it was not my primary residence. In 2023, it indeed was not my primary residence or my domicile. My driver's license, the challenge said I might have a driver's license in Florida. Indeed, I did. I have surrendered that driver's license as of getting my North Carolina driver's license and abandoned that residency. And it also referenced that I have an email address in Houston, Texas. I do have an email address in Houston, Texas. It is a mail service where I have all of my mail sent so that while I'm traveling, I'm able to see the mail, scan it, have it forwarded to any address that I want to have it forwarded to. So I do indeed have an email address, a physical mail box at Houston, Texas. So I think this evidence shows that I've met the three criteria for residents at 210 Portsmouth Way. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
I have a question.
Yes,
After you left Florida, did you send their Department of Elections a letter of resignation saying that you no longer want to be registered in the state and that you were going to be registered here in North Carolina?
I have not done that. No, I was actually registered. I never registered to vote in North Carolina. I mean, in Florida.
Where were you registered during that time?
I was registered, I guess, in North Carolina, for that entire time. We never registered in Florida.
And how often did you vote in North Carolina when you were registered here?
We voted regularly. I was not aware until, actually this challenge occurred that, what the voter rules are in North Carolina. So I probably, should have registered in Florida and then re-registered in North Carolina at that time. So I will say that was probably my mistake.
And you said that your house is held in an LLC?
Yes.
Um,
And that's just for the purposes of estate planning to allow our children to be able to split the house up at the time that we need to. Yeah.
I'm an estate planning attorney. I get that.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So, okay.
And I wish I didn't have to do that because it's kind of a pain, but whatever.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have a question.
Mr. Lewis?
How long have you been registered here in North Carolina?
Since 2018, I believe.
2018, all in this county?
Yes.
And you moved here in March of 2025?
We have owned a house at 210 Portsmouth Way for the entire, since 2013, 2014, something like that. So it's not a new home.
Okay. Okay.
The 210 Portsmouth Way address is where you're currently residing?
Yes,
Okay. That's where you'll go home and go to sleep,
yes.
bed tonight. Okay, thank you. Mr. Mayor, any questions?
No, sir.
Mr.
Can you
Smusky?
explain the Houston
Yes.
connection again? please?
Well, first of all, if you have a house on Bald Head, getting mail on Bald Head can be a challenge from time to time. It's particularly difficult now, but I also travel a fair amount internationally on vacations mostly. And when we're away from home, I don't like to have mail going into a mailbox at Bald Head. And I own property in Florida, own property in Virginia, actually, and occasionally mail would go to those places. And I've tried to consolidate all of that into one place in Houston, Texas. It's a service that basically collects your mail, scans it, sends you an email when you have mail that comes in, and then allows you to forward that mail to any address you want to. It's particularly helpful at Bald Head because then I can get my mail sent via priority mail. All of my mail gets sent priority mail, and I have record of that coming, and I know when it's been received.
So it's mail, not email.
It's mail, yes, physical mail, yes.
And in your voter history, you voted absentee by mail. Where were those absentee ballots mailed to?
They were mailed to Florida, I believe. I honestly can't tell you that. I'm fairly certain they were mailed to Florida.
Just so I understand.
I'm not trying to, I'm trying to be clear that I considered my domicile Florida prior to this change in 2025. And the continued registration in North Carolina was clearly not probably what I should have been doing. But at this point, I'm planning to be a North Carolina resident, am a North Carolina resident as of March of 2025.
Okay. So just so I understand, the Houston address you have is strictly for mail handling purposes. You never resided in Houston?
No. no,
Okay.
sir.
And you were in Naples prior to coming here, and in the documentation, there was also a previous address somewhere in Virginia Beach,
In Richmond, Virginia.
Richmond. Okay, I'm sorry. And you haven't lived there, have you lived there recently? or-
We still own a home in Richmond, Virginia that we use when we go to see our family in Virginia.
I'm sorry, when you go to,
See our family in Virginia.
okay.
Are you voting there? No, no. I'm only registered to vote in one place, believe me.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Yes. I wouldn't want to have another hearing. So
Don't want to get involved in that at all. Thank you.
That'll be somewhere else, right?
Okay. Do you have anything else you'd like to mention or not?
I don't think so.
Any other questions on the members
I
of
don't know
the
if you want
board?
me to provide the other documents now or whether we need to do that later.
Is it what you emailed?
Yeah, I just have the deeds. I believe some of that was already sent in
Okay.
challenge, so I'm not sure that that's
Okay,
necessary, but
I think opening statements we'll hear from the challenger, right? And then we can present more evidence. Is that?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. We'll
okay,
take-
thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Goodness. Okay, the opportunity to make an opening statement. Ms. or Mrs. Drumheller?
I'll start with,
Yes. Do you swear that the testimony that you are about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I certainly do. Good afternoon, members of the Board of Election and staff. My name is Deborah Drumheller. I've lived at 6 Eileen Way, Bald Head Island, since July 1, 2011, the date I retired after a 35-year career in Washington, D.C. I am one of the 6 homeowners running for council on Bald Head Island. And soon after the 6 candidates became known on the island, I was contacted by a neighbor of Mr. Fitzhugh, who said he couldn't possibly be a permanent resident because the lights in his home are never on. And to qualify, he needs to be on the island or have it his intent to be there. A member of the Board of Directors of Bald Head Island Conservancy, of which Mr. Fitzhugh is the president, reached out to me to say he isn't a resident. He participates almost entirely by Zoom in all of the Conservancy meetings. I then started to do some online research and learned that he had a Florida driver's license in 2010, big deal, when he got a speeding ticket, big deal. His current residence is in Naples, Florida, since 2020. And it has an appraised value significantly higher than his Bald Head Island home, also irrelevant. What is relevant is where his intent is. And as a very financially astute person, it is highly likely that Mr. Fitzhugh would want his residence to be in Florida and not North Carolina, as Florida has no income tax. And I venture to say he has probably never filed North Carolina income taxes. Another friend advised me after his own online search that he revealed that Mr. and Mrs. Fitzhugh in June 2023, through a quitclaim deed, transferred ownership of their Bald Head Island home to an LLC. In this deed, Mr. Fitzhugh, as grantor, indicated his Bald Head Island property was not his primary residence, and his address was Houston, Texas, for mailing purposes, as we've just heard. The fact that that deed indicated it wasn't his primary residence should be more than sufficient evidence to show he's not qualified to run for office. But he has, we've just learned, conveniently gotten a North Carolina driver's license and claims that he's now a North Carolina resident. I would suggest, and I ask that the board subpoena his tax records to see if he's ever paid North Carolina tax. I would also suggest that he
has gotten a North Carolina driver's license just so that he can run for council on Bald Head Island. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Any of the board members have a question? Ma'am? Any questions for this witness? Oh, no, okay. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Pelton, if I can just announce some exhibits that I am introducing to you. You issued a subpoena of the candidate that's being challenged. The documents that we received in response to that have been entered and you have copies of them.
Yes.
Should I list the items that were submitted? Okay. So Exhibit 1 is a North Carolina driver's license, copy of that. Exhibit 2 is a 2023 federal tax return, the last federal return filed. Exhibit 3 is a 2022 non-resident Virginia tax return, last state return filed. Exhibit 4, current homeowners policy. Exhibit 5, current North Carolina auto policy. Exhibit 6, current auto registration. Exhibit 7, statement under penalty of perjury that I will present at the hearing. So I believe he read that during his opening statement. And Exhibit 8, updated version of the auto insurance policy reflecting the North Carolina driver's license.
All right. A lot of material.
Yeah, so that is what we already have, I believe. At this stage, you would be able to accept additional evidence if he has any to submit to you.
Do either parties have any additional information that maybe not already covered? Mr. Fitzhugh?
Since I brought them and I figured I would go ahead and add them to the record, I do have the copy of the quick claim deed that Ms. Drumheller referenced, which just shows that Vitamin C Properties is the owner of the property, and the limited liability company annual report, which shows that I am the managing member of that LLC, along with a tax bill and 2 utility bills showing that the property is in my name and being used.
Okay.
Would like to enter those if possible.
Can I ask a follow-up question to your previous testimony? You know, we were talking about the place where your mail gets delivered in Houston. What is the name of the company?
It's called US Global Mail. If it helps, I have a copy of their page that shows my mailbox and
That would be,
in the name. of the
I would
company.
love that to be entered into evidence.
Happy to introduce that.
He's got something else for you.
Oh, okay.
It's a little difficult to read.
Especially, I'd like to see a copy of the LLC document.
The LLC documents, yes, I just.
Yeah, I believe, is that the first item you think?
Well,
Second item, I believe.
while Mrs. Levere is doing that, just for my own clarification, the 1321 Upland Drive address in Houston, Texas is the mail service that
Yes.
you use down there.
Yes,
That's not a residence or
No.
you've never lived there?
No.
Physically? Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
and I will point out that our lights are on in our house from time to time. I'm not sure which neighbor thinks they're not, but I need to meet that person and find out why they're.
Okay.
Here you go, Mr. Chairman, I'll start those with you.
I think the other point here is that, yes, there are definitely times where I'm not on Bald Head Island, but the requirements to be a resident are not that you be a resident 365 days a year at that location. You are allowed to be at other places. And so clearly, in this case, my time I'm spending at Bald Head is increasing, and that was the justification and the reasoning for moving my domicile to North Carolina.
Well, another follow-up. You still own the property in Florida?
We still do, yes.
Can you, you mentioned in your opening statement about 180 days on Bald Head Island. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, my tax advisor indicates that in most states, if you spend that many days in that state, you're actually required to file a tax return in that
Right.
state. And so, we haven't crossed that line at this point, but we probably will, in either 2025 or 2026. So we have not filed a tax return in North Carolina at this point because we've not spent that time in North Carolina.
And you do spend a good amount of time traveling. That's why you have the global server,
Yes, sir.
global mail service.
You had mentioned earlier that you had relocated from Naples to Bald Head Island sometime this year previously?
The last day I spent in Naples this year was March of 2025. So
Okay,
yes,
All right.
the plan has been to establish domicile in North Carolina since early this year, since January of this year.
okay. So essentially
I will say this, that if anybody believes I got a driver's license since the filing of this hearing, they obviously haven't tried to get a driver's license recently. It takes about 4 months, if you're lucky and you're on at midnight, to get an appointment to get a driver's license. And if you don't have an appointment, you need to be at the DMV at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to be in line. And being from Bald Head, that's virtually impossible to do unless I want to spend the night in Charlotte.
Understood. And without telling tales out of school, Mr. Batten was regaling us before the meeting with his 6 or 8 hour wait at DMV recently just to renew his driver's license. So I think we all appreciate the effort that goes into that. So. All right. Any other questions? No? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Ms. Drumheller, you had something else?
In my challenge, a copy of the quitclaim deed when he and his wife transferred the property to the LLC. And if you guys need it, I have an extra copy, but have you
It's
seen
what
it?
you submitted with the challenge. They
Yeah.
have copies of all of that.
And I would suggest that there is no rule about 180 days North Carolina. If he's a North Carolina resident, he should have been making estimated tax payments, and he hasn't been doing that. And so I think that proves ipso facto that this is all being done so that he can run for council.
Ma'am, he's claiming residency since March of 2025.
Yeah, I know,
Well-
but there's something called an estimated tax payment. I file them every quarter with very large numbers that I happily give to the state of North Carolina. And he hasn't paid 1 red cent in North Carolina income tax, and it would be due June 30th.
Thank you.
She reminded me of something that I did want to ask Mr. Fitzhugh.
Okay.
On that. Okay,
Yes, sir.
and so this was along the lines of the 180 days.
Right.
Okay,
Which maybe she's right. I don't know.
But-
I've not talked to my accountant specifically about North Carolina.
I think it came up here. But my question was, if you're not in North Carolina for less than 180 days, are you planning on using that house as a rental?
No,
Uh,
no, we
that-
never rented the house. No, we will not.
Okay, and, I was thinking that was why you might have put it into an LLC.
No, the LLC was to allow for a shareholder breakdown between my daughter and my son upon our death, so that one of them would control the property, as opposed to having them both fight over who has control of that property. So one of them would have actually one more share than the others and would have control of the property.
Okay, so there are shares in
that's
this
relevant to this,
LLC
but-
and you're the primary shareholder at this time,
Yes,
and you're using it for your residence.
yes.
Okay.
Okay. I
Thank
think that, any other questions?
You're talking about the LLC. for the property in Bald Head. Is the LLC in North Carolina?
Yes.
Okay.
And the address, actually the mailing address and the physical address of the LLC is 210 Portsmouth Way.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. At this time, if there's any presentation by any non-parties who would like to be heard? Okay, hearing none, we will consider the documentation or the testimony.
Just a brief reminder, Mr. Chair, that we are following the rules of evidence and hearsay is not admissible, so you need to disregard any, for lack of a better word, he said, she said.
Okay,
Yes, that's about
Okay.
the lights being on.
excuse me?
That's about the lights not being on.
Yeah. All right.
We go to executive session, right?
In our order of procedure, we've completed the evidence presentation by any non-parties. Open up for discussion by the board members. Do we have any kind of motion?
A motion for,
Either, it would, Mr. Batten, we would either accept or reject the challenge at this point? Am I correct?
Sustain or dismiss?
I'm sorry, say again, sir?
Sustain the challenge or dismiss the challenge?
Sustain or dismiss, okay. Do we have a motion to either sustain or dismiss the challenge based upon the evidence we've heard?
well, I move that we dismiss the challenge based upon the evidence that was heard today.
Any discussion? Lewis?
I agree with that motion because I can see where it would be a campaign issue, but based on the evidence presented, he's making that a domicile. And
Mayor, Meyer? Mr. Lewis? Okay. The motion is to dismiss the challenge. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The motion is carried unanimously and the challenge is dismissed.
As the board.
Thank you all. I'm sorry?
The board did reference the evidence, so when I draft the order in the findings of fact, I will reference the evidence indicating residence, if that's okay with the board.
Yes, I have no. any-
Yeah,
Okay,
that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Okay. All right, moving on in our agenda, item number 6, approval of the minutes from the meetings of July the 22nd and July the 30th, 2005. There any comments or questions on the minutes of the meeting? Everybody have an opportunity to review those.
I just want to just make sure that the change that David had submitted about there was no reference to the speaker at the public, was added. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't
she
read
made,
today's, so.
she made reference that we heard from a member of the audience. So thank you for that, by the way.
And also with that, I move to approve the meetings of the meeting of July 22nd and July 30th, 2025.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously accepted minutes. At this point, we will have any public comments? Not hearing, seeing any.
I think Shelley wants.
I'm sorry.
Moment, point of order, sir.
Yes, sir.
Did we do both meetings, minutes of both?
Yes,
meetings?
I said both dates.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Yes,
Sure.
all right.
Kelly?
Good afternoon. My name is Shelley Allen. I'm Chair of the Brunswick County Democratic Party. And we
Shelley,
understand
can you pull the microphone up a little bit? Okay,
How's that?
that's great. Thank you.
We understand that today you will be making the appointments of precinct judges for November's municipal elections as well as for next year's primaries and midterms. I'd like to take this opportunity to express deep gratitude for the outstanding work our Board of Elections staff does. These professionals submit a carefully constructed list of recommended judges, one chief and two others per precinct, to the chairs of the Democratic and Republican county parties for consideration. Their recommendations are based on the extensive work they do with precinct officials in every election. In addition to ensuring that there is at least one Democratic and one Republican judge at each polling location, as required by law, their decisions reflect their direct experience in identifying the most capable and qualified individuals to fill these critical roles. I rely on our Board of Elections staff members to determine who the judges should be. They know far better than anyone else who is best suited for this job. Thus, in prior elections, I've accepted the staff's suggestions for each precinct, and I have done so again this year. It seems that my previous counterpart did the same. I hope that trend continues today. Depending on our skilled Board of Elections staff for precinct judge selections is a proven method of assuring that our county's elections are conducted in the most impartial, transparent, and professional way possible. Thank you for your service on this board and for your time.
Thank you. Is there any other comments? Ma'am?
Hello, my name is Diane Bergen. I have been a full-time resident of Brunswick County for just over 3 years now. I'm part-time for another year from there. I am proud to be an unaffiliated poll worker who gets a chance to work with the outstanding elections staff here in Brunswick County. And in preparing for this meeting, I was looking at the records about voter registration. And this may have been addressed earlier, but I noted that there was a significant number of voters removed from the rolls in January, nearly 7,000, if I recall correctly. And I just wanted to understand from the board's perspective, if this is a trend or an anomaly after a major election to have such a high multiple of the monthly churn of voters being removed, and what the position on the board is on the efforts ongoing, or if they're completed already, to reach out to those voters who have been removed from the rolls.
I would just comment, and I'm going to let Mrs. Levere comment on this. Under North Carolina law, every 2 years in odd numbered years, we are required to do list maintenance. And there's an entire procedure for that. So if you go back and you look at 2023 or 2021, you will see a large number of removals. And Madam Director, would you like to comment on that, please?
Sure. So in usually January of odd number years, we do biennial list maintenance, and that is really an effort to catch anyone that is no longer eligible to vote in Brunswick County that wasn't found through other means, like the DHHS deceased reports, the felon list, the NCOA, I moved away from here lists. And so the voters that get removed through that process have been in an inactive status for 2 federal general elections. So 4 years, they've been inactive. We've had no contact with them. They haven't voted. We couldn't get mail to them. And so those are the big number that you'll see in the start of every odd number year that get removed.
Really helpful.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. The other item that you referenced was the ongoing registration repair project by the North Carolina State Board of Elections. And there was a letter that came out from them just yesterday indicating that they are sending out letters to 82,000 voters in the state of North Carolina who did not either have driver's license numbers or social security numbers on them. And I know our staff had reported on this at the last meeting, and we had,
My director's report,
yes,
if you
for
want to.
today, well, okay.
Yes.
We had 1,300 and some number, 1,354, I think. But anyway, impacted 1,300 and some odd voters in Brunswick County. And those folks will be getting a letter from the state about updating the information on their registration, so. There any other public comment from anybody?
There were not any submitted online either.
Okay. Moving on to item number 8 on today, the director's report. And I'm sorry I stole your thunder.
That's okay. That's okay. So the one item I did want to touch on during the director's report is to talk about the registration repair project. Last month, we were given marching orders from the state to review 1,736 records to determine if any of those people had provided us a driver's license number, the last 4 digits of their social, if they had registered prior to January 1, 2004 and been continuously registered, or if they had checked the box on a voter registration form indicating that they did not have either a driver's license number or a social security number. So we finished that process, and you were correct. The number right after that was around 1,300 that we were left with. As of today, and this is as current as I think we can get, we now have 1,234 voters that still need to provide their driver's license or the last 4 digits of their social security number. So the State Board of Elections is managing the mailing to these voters. So just to be clear, the Brunswick County Board of Elections is not doing outreach to these individuals. That is all being done on the state level. There's a uniform letter. It provides a QR code to go update your driver's license number through the NCDMV if you have a driver's license. So those letters have started going out. I do want to note that voters that are in this registration repair process that have not provided the required identification information will be flagged as inactive voters. And what that means is when they present to vote, their record will have a flag on it indicating that they need to provide a driver's license or social security number. So the precinct officials should not be able to inadvertently check someone in to vote because their record is flagged as inactive for this reason. Any of these voters, when they present to vote, if they haven't already remedied the missing information, will be required to vote a provisional ballot and provide those numbers as part of that process.
I have a question.
Yes.
At those 1,200 people that were flagged, did they vote in the last election?
I don't know the answer to that. And I don't know if it would be easy for me to find that
Okay.
either. It's possible.
Just wondering.
Yeah, I'm
what
not sure.
percentage did actually vote about that information?
That's all I had for today,
Okay,
unless you had questions of me.
no? All right.
I did have a question. Might those voters come to our offices are they being directed to?
So they're given 3 options in that letter. So one of the options they have is to, and I've got the letter up here, so bear with me. So they're being sent a form. They can return that form in the prepaid, pre-addressed envelope to the State Board of Elections, who will then distribute it to county boards of elections. They can go online through the NCDMV, or they can come into the office and provide us that information in our office.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is new training for our judges and officials then?
It will be new training for the precinct officials to know what to do when they come across a voter that is flagged as inactive for the reason of need to provide DLSSN.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Hey, Sarah,
Yes.
so the project was approved, the funding was approved to replace the SIMS database. Have you heard anything about that timetable? Either?
I have not heard a thing about the update of the, and SEAMS, just for everybody's edification, is the statewide election information management system. It's essentially our suite of software that we do all the work in. Yes, I understand that has happened, but I have gotten, no updates about a timeline on that. Yeah.
I know we do have some private citizens that are really good at data analytics.
Mhm.
When they find issues in the voter rolls, how do they rectify that?
So it kind of depends on what the issues are. You know, if someone catches, a number in a name or something like that, I know there's, there's people in Brunswick County that'll bring that to my attention and give me a chance to look at the, the form that the voter turned in to make sure that, did we inadvertently enter something incorrectly? I really think that's letting me know so that we can look into it to see if it's something we can fix. Or if it's, if it's the way that the voter filled out the form, there's probably not a lot we can do with that.
Do they also go to Raleigh depending on what it is?
Depending on what it is, I definitely think that could be an avenue as well. Mhm.
Any other questions? Okay. Normally, we don't entertain questions from the audience except during the public comment issue. But if you have something that's brief, sir? Okay. I don't know that we've established early voting locations yet, have we? We have,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I
For the
apologize.
municipal election, early voting is only offered at the government center. So the cooperative extension is our in lieu of the Board of Elections site. The schedule is on our website on the 2025 municipal election tab. It should be one of the first items you see on that page. And absentee ballots will be available in this election as well.
I knew that. I should have remembered it.
That's
What
okay.
was the other part of your question, sir?
Is it early voting and absentee?
All right. Unfinished business. Duties of the director.
Yes, at our last meeting, it's routine that when a board is sworn in, they have to adopt the duties of the director. I did present that at the last meeting. The formatting and some changes were made to previous versions, and the board wanted to see what those changes were. So since that last meeting, I did email out a tracked changes version just so you could see the changes that I made. And so today I present to you essentially the same document for duties of director, and I recommend approval by the board.
So at the last meeting, we didn't have a regular chairman.
And we were missing someone, so.
Yeah, and we were missing our chairman at the time. So we didn't have a regular chairman, so we postponed this. But I did ask what changes, and when she sent that track out, there were no substantive changes from what's already been approved. So I move approval of the duties of the director.
In full disclosure to my friends here on the board, I did discuss with Sarah adding a statement relative to being able to modify the document going forward. And Sarah didn't think that was necessary at this time, and I agreed with her. I did that out of personal experience from past lives. And I don't think it would ever be an issue with this group, so. All right,
Just don't do it again.
I'm sorry?
Just don't do it again.
No. All right, any discussion? Do we have a resolution to approve the?
The motion is to approve the minutes as presented, the
Well,
duties as presented.
We
Duties.
should approve the resolution to transfer the director's duties to Sal.
Mhm.
So I make that motion.
Okay, any discussion? None? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously approved. New business.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the reevaluation of out-of-precinct polling locations. The law does allow us to have polling locations that are outside of the precinct as long as they are adjacent to the precinct. None of these are new, but we do have to ask for approval every year. And so Anything beyond that, I will defer to Melissa to present as she has done the preparations on this agenda item. But this, just to clarify, this is not anything new. This is something we had in place last year as well.
Okay. I'd just like to make an observation that it's probably not a surprise to anybody that Brunswick County is growing fast. It's growing more quickly than any other county in the state. And one of the issues that faces the board and has been facing us for a number of years is the problem of finding physical locations that meet the requirements of the state to be able to put in polling places. That's why, and unfortunately, while it may seem like we have some really good places, there, we usually have parking problems is the biggest issue. So that's why we wind up having to locate polling places outside of a particular precinct, including my own. So anyway, Mrs. Chambers, you had something on this?
I was just going to provide additional background that these 4 locations listed on the agenda item are literally a stone's throw from the actual precinct lines. There is just no available suitable location within the geographical boundaries of the precinct. None of these 4 locations are new. They were all used last year in the general election. As Sarah mentioned, we have to ask for approval on an annual basis to continue to use out of precinct polling locations. I didn't know if you had any further questions about any of the 4 locations you wanted me to answer.
Well, I'm just looking through the volume of data material that we have available. Where is in the package we have? Where
In your
is-
binder, go back to the front section that says agenda.
Hmm?
Hey, Melissa, when you said approval, who's doing the approvals? Is it Raleigh?
Yes.
Ah,
The executive
thank
director.
you.
Gotcha.
Specifically, we're talking about Southport 1, Secession 2, Hickman Crossing, and Griswold. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
So my question would be, are there any elections this year for Hickman's Crossroads?
Yes, that precinct will be open.
Huh.
They have residents that are in the municipality of Carolina Shores.
Okay, Griswold has Sunset Beach residents,
Ocean Isle Beach.
Ocean Isle Beach.
Yes.
Okay.
It was,
Okay.
we began using Seaside United Methodist Church last year. It was formerly voted at Ocean Isle Beach Town Hall, which presented a number of challenges and no longer worked for the size of the precinct. And so we relocated last year to Seaside United Methodist Church, which is literally across the street from being in the precinct boundaries.
Okay. Any discussion? We have a resolution to approve
All
for
right.
four out of precinct?
I'll make a motion to accept the resolution as written by the staff.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Note that it was carried unanimously.
Mr. Chair, could I have a side comment?
Certainly.
You were talking about the growth, and that, like my precinct specifically is what, 9,000 voters?
Probably.
Is there plans, we think, to be able to split that?
So I can touch on that a little bit, and it might be helpful for everybody in here. I think what Randy said about us having challenges with finding suitable locations, if we don't have locations, we can't really split a precinct in half or, cut a chunk off if we had nowhere for those voters to go. And that really is one of our primary challenges right now. We continue to pursue every avenue that we're made aware of for a polling place, churches, community buildings, neighborhood clubhouses, anything like that that we're made aware of, we do try to look at, consider would it be suitable. on our website, at the very bottom, if you scroll all the way down, we actually have an item where we want the public to tell us of buildings that they know of that might be suitable. I do recognize that we have some precincts that need to be split because of the size, but the challenge is we just have nowhere to put the voters.
I have a question associated with that.
Yes.
Now, would it be something like you have, all right, for example, you have North Brunswick High School.
Mhm.
Could you have 5 precincts vote at North Brunswick High School?
We've done that in the past, but the challenge there is each precinct has to operate completely independently inside the gym, for instance.
No, I
So,
understand. You have check-in.
yeah,
if you're
so,
listening in
when
here.
voters come in, it did create confusion. You know, if you're in Belleville 1, you go to the right side of the room. If you're in Belleville 2, you go to the left side of the room. But how many voters actually know the name of their precinct when they walk in to vote?
Well, there'll be someone helping them as you do today. I
Yes,
mean,
we have tried that. It is not something I would recommend trying again. But
That's
it,
kind of where I grew up, was like that. So.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that would, it could work. And I think another challenge we face is when we look at splitting precincts, we are bound by census blocks, which come out after the census, which is done every 10 years. And imagine how much our county has changed since 2020 when the census was last done. And so those blocks are created based on what they had in 2020, and we cannot split a census block. So when we go to look at splitting a precinct, a lot of times we find that something that was vacant is now very populated. And if we want to split a precinct, we're splitting a neighborhood, or we're splitting, you know, maybe even a house, who knows? But it really creates challenges for us. But I think without locations, we really struggle.
The director had provided us some material at a previous meeting, which detailed from the county perspective, the number of new developments that are in the permitting process. And being a bit of a numbers nerd, I went through and counted them up. In unincorporated Brunswick County, there are over 45,000 living units under construction or being planned over the next 5 to 10 years or so. That doesn't include anything that's in a municipality. So we're looking at 45 to 50,000 probably new living units, which are going to produce another 100,000 new voters over time.
So those are
And-
approved permits then.
I think they're in various stages of the permitting process. And one of the things that we've discussed on the board in the past, and I would like to pursue a little more vigorously this year, is the implementation of election day voting centers. And in its simplest form for for everybody's information, is simply take the process that we use for early voting, which is already implemented in the state, and allow that to be used on election day itself. There are 21 states in the country who use that process, including in addition to the District of Columbia. And it would allow us to be able to manage the growth a little more effectively than we have in the past. So
That would,
that's,
that would require some changes to
it
the law,
would,
right?
it would require legislative approval.
Right.
So it would have to go through the legislature and be signed by the
And
governor.
printers.
Which obviously is going to take some time. It's one approach. All right. Any other questions on the polling locations? No, okay. Appointment of precinct officials for 2025, 2027, Mrs. Chambers.
He knew right where to go with that, didn't he?
So today you will be appointing chief judges and judges of election in our 27 precincts. I did supply information of lists that were submitted from the county chairs for nomination. In your packet, it does display the nominees submitted by the Democratic Party as well as the Republican Party. It does also reflect any staff recommendations. Those staff recommendations were made to both parties. It also, your list will have a line that says must select. There are bounds by which you must follow when appointing judges that are statutory requirements. So some of those may include whether or not the person who was nominated lives in the precinct or does not live in the precinct. So as we go through this list today, Mr. Pelton has asked me to provide you with some guidance for each precinct as we work through the list as to statutorily who you may be required to select.
Okay.
Is that,
Yes.
okay?
Okay, just,
Let me have a question first. Just help me understand the layout of your chart here. I see in the the fourth column, you have Dems, Republicans must select and staff recommend note, right? Are we voting on what you're recommending? If we vote what you vote your recommendation, then we're voting for the people along that line?
On some of the precincts, there are names in that must select line, and those are nominees you must select according to statutory guidelines. So there are some precincts, in accordance with the names that were submitted, you have to select. And those are noted on that line that says must select for each precinct.
And as you go through, I'll just chime in. Melissa is going to walk you through every precinct and the situation in that precinct, the names that were submitted and why you have to select a certain person or why she
Okay.
recommends somebody. So I think it might click as you start to go through it. Yeah.
I'll wait, go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
If something's not clear at any point, let me know.
Okay, sure.
I attended a Zoom call with some legal specialists that went through, what is it, Article 16341, I think is the one that covers this. And got the lowdown on why we must select and everything. Okay, so there's statutory things, but there were a couple of things that came up in here that I would still have questions on.
Okay.
And actually, CB01 has one of those questions.
Okay.
well, just so you guys know, Melissa and I met at 1 o'clock today and we went through the entire list. And there are some of these that we have to have unanimous vote on. There are some that it's majority vote. To try to group them together by majority or unanimous vote was really not practical. So in our discussion, we determined that it would probably be best for us to go one by one and through and the comments. So,
Okay.
All right. Now that I've stole your thunder, Melissa.
You're fine. Precinct CB01, as a note, will not be open this election. It's one of the ones we remain closed for a municipal election. The name submitted for chief judge was Melinda Johnson. And then the names submitted for judges were Norman Doug Ward and Walter Lynch. Of those three, Melinda does not reside in that precinct, so she would have to be approved unanimously.
And Walter also? Or-
Yes, you are correct.
Okay, so the question I would have is, answer my own question. We're not trying to find. Norman is in precinct,
Correct.
okay? So we would not want to promote him to chief judge because he doesn't have the experience. Is that correct?
Not necessarily, but I will let you know, prior to making my staff recommendations to the county chairs, I did reach out to anyone that I was recommending from a staff recommendation point to gather their interest in being recommended as a chief judge or a judge. because I didn't want to make that recommendation if it was something that they did not wish to take on, or if they had a specific interest. I wanted to have that information before I made recommendations to the parties. Melinda is a longtime chief judge. She has served in that precinct for a long time. Doug has served, not as consistently as Melinda, and his schedule doesn't always allow service. But he is an experienced poll worker as well. His
Nice.
name was not submitted under the chief judge category, though.
Okay, so you answered two questions. First, you did call and ask, so that was one of the things I was wondering about. And the other thing is, I would be looking for experienced people. So your Linda's experience here shows great. So the pink says we have to have unanimous consent.
The pink is who you need to select due to statutory guidelines, but Melinda and Walter
Oh,
in this
I'm s-
precinct have to be approved unanimously because they don't reside in that precinct.
I'm sorry, it looked pink to me, but I guess I meant orange.
Pink, orange.
Okay, so the orange has to be
Yes.
decided unanimously.
That's correct.
Okay. By the way, this, it took a while to get through this, but once I caught on to it, this is a very informative, heavy piece of work.
It's a lot of information.
This was well done.
Thank you. I
Done.
appreciate that.
Like that.
I'd just like to make a comment that putting this document together is a effort. And Melissa and Jordan, who helped her this year, I think have done a yeoman's work here. Thank you, ladies.
Yo, woman.
So, any other comments? No. All right, Melissa, for supply, we need
You would need a motion and then a unanimous
okay,
vote.
but does it have to be unanimous or majority?
It has to be unanimous. You have two that are out of precinct.
Okay.
Let me go back now. What we're voting on is the row that says staff recommend and notes, right? So in this,
No.
for the first one, we're voting on Melinda Johnson, Norman Ward, and Walter Lance. Am I understanding that correctly?
If that's the motion that is put forth, yes.
All right.
So. Okay.
Sometimes, in some precincts, Ed, the must select and the staff recommend are not going to be the same.
Yeah, that's
Right.
what's,
So
that's what was.
In
confusing
this
me.
precinct, they are the same.
Yeah. Mhm.
Mr. Lewis, I think we're voting on the pink line.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
the must select.
Okay.
If it's
No,
blank.
I think but let me make a motion. You tell me if I'm, okay. Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the staff recommended officers for the supply precinct, CBO 1.
The same as the must select, so yeah.
Yeah. Okay, just so everybody's clear, when Melissa talks about must select, that's covered by statute. I mean, we have really no choice in that, so. When the staff recommendation matches the must select, we're in good shape. Do we need on this one, Melissa, we need a unanimous?
You need a unanimous vote for, if the motion is to approve Melinda, Doug, and Walter, you need a unanimous vote.
All right. So we have a motion to approve Melinda Johnson, Norman Doug Ward, and Walter Lynch for chief judge and judges in CBO 1 supply. Any more discussion? Any comments, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, unanimous. Thank you.
There's one.
One down.
Only 26 to go.
Mhm.
CBO 2, Shalot.
This precinct votes at West Brunswick High School. You are bound by the pink line. which is the must select. There was one name submitted for chief judge, and that was Sharon Martins. There were two names submitted for judge of Sally June Kuka, and I apologize if I mispronounce names as we go through this list. And Allison King. They are both in precinct. The statutory guidelines say that if there is a in precinct name submitted, that must take precedence over an out of precinct name. So you would be required to accept Sally June and Allison as the judges in that precinct because they reside there.
I move we accept the must select line for CBO2.
Okay, we have a motion. Just to reiterate, this is as a requirement of statute that we have to go with that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is unanimous.
So this is the must select.
Mm-hmm. CBO 3 frying pan?
Frying Pan is also a precinct that we will not open this year, but this term of appointments is for both elections next year as well. The Democrats submitted Sophia Spring Harkins for chief judge, and the Republicans submitted Geraldine Jerry Spring as their selection for chief judge. So you will have to make a selection there for chief judge. For judge, the Democrat list indicated that if Spring is not selected for chief judge, they would like her selected as a judge. And then both parties were in agreement on Gregory Weber, and he lives in, all three of these live in precinct. So your first decision really is whether, what the chief judge position is going to be.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion that we accept the staff recommendation for chief judge, which is Spring Harkins. And staff recommendation for judge, which is Geraldine Spring.
And
And Gregory Weber, who's required this.
Okay.
Both of them.
mhm.
Melissa?
Yes.
Jerry Spring
Yes.
is, she has served as a judge previously, but never as a chief judge, is that correct?
Correct.
Are we, since she was not listed as a judge, Melissa, have you asked her that she would also serve as a judge or?
The question to Jerry was if she would serve as a judge because she was a staff recommendation as a judge. I have not had discussion with her on the chief judge format.
By statute, if someone is nominated for chief judge and not selected, are we allowed to move them over to judge?
By statute, you can, if the list is not sufficient and does not list enough nominees, you can select a registered voter of that precinct to serve as a judge, and Jerry would fall under that category. If she was not selected as chief judge, you could select her as a judge.
You know the statute?
No.
Go
ahead.
So she's made the motion that we accept the staff recommendations
Correct.
for CBO3.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
It's Paula, by the way.
I'm sorry?
I said my name is Paula.
Motion was made by Mrs. Clarity.
Thank you.
Okay. CBO 4, Secession 2.
Secession 2 votes the Holden Beach EOC. The only name submitted for chief judge was Beth Baker, longstanding chief judge of that location. And then the names submitted that you must approve for judge are Mark Allen and Libby Mackey. The other name submitted of Bill Callahan does not reside in the precinct. So therefore, the names for judges submitted by the Democratic Party of Mark Allen and Libby Mackey, that is their home precinct, so they must be selected. So you are essentially bound to select Beth Baker, Mark Allen, and Libby Mackey.
This is a majority vote then?
Yes.
Correct.
Mr. Chairman, go ahead.
Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the staff recommended judges and Chief Judge Beth Baker, Mark Allen, and Libby Mackey.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, approved.
Melissa, a question? In future insufficiencies, are we allowed to consider Michael Applegate and William Callahan on future insufficiencies?
If there's a vacancy, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, right.
If there is a vacancy, it does have to be filled by the same party that was appointed. So if for some reason Libby Mackey, say, for example, is unable to work this election, that judge position would have to be filled by the same party as Libby Mackey.
No, I'm sorry, I'm talking about, when we put Sophia Harkins over into Chief Judge, now there were no names for the judge.
Mhm.
And so Jerry was able to move over. And that you called that an insufficiency, which is what the statute says. Are we allowed to consider either of these two other names for that kind of insufficiency in the future?
You
Well,
mean,
we'll get to it
you mean in the list?
in the list, yeah.
So if we come to one where you have a blank and you don't
Right.
have a nominee, you want to see? if
You
pull
can
back-
consider out of precinct if there are no in-precinct qualified voters for selection.
Okay.
Is that what you're asking?
Yes, yes, the insufficiency was pertaining to this list, yes.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, CBO 5, secession 1.
Votes at Lockwood Poly Community Building. There were 3 names submitted, 3 names for your selection. Phil Julian as the chief judge, Pamela Forst as the judge, and Donna Geis as a judge.
I move we accept the staff recommendations.
So the names submitted match the statutory requirements as well as the staff recommendations.
So you're proposing the staff recommendation on that,
Yes.
correct? Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Mhm.
Opposed? Unanimous? Okay. Mosquito 1, CB 06.
Mosquito 1 votes at Virginia Williamson Elementary School. They will be closed for the municipal. I will note that any of the appointed positions, especially the chief judges, if their home precinct is closed for the municipal, I do offer them to work because if we have any new chief judges, I really want to offer them to be mentored by an experienced chief judge. So for example, if an experienced chief judge such as Melinda, her home precinct will not be open, I will likely ask her to pair with a newer or less experienced chief judge so that she can help them become more comfortable in their role. I thought of that now because of this precinct not being open, so I apologize that I did not mention that earlier. So in this precinct, the names submitted match staff recommendations, and they match that what was submitted by both parties. Paige Tyler for chief judge, Bonnie Ublacker as judge, and Victoria Edge as the other judge. This vote in reference specifically to Victoria would need to be unanimous because her home precinct is NB03. This does keep it, one of the other factors we look at when we make staff recommendations is keeping a successful team together. So if I make a recommendation for someone out of precinct, it may also be because that person has worked consistently in that precinct. We like to keep our successful teams together if at all possible.
Understood.
All right, so I'm going to make a motion to accept the staff recommendations for the Mosquito 1 precinct. Being Paige Taylor, Bonnie U. Blacker, and Victoria Edge.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Hood Creek, NB 01.
NB01 is one of our precincts that we struggle with in-precinct poll workers. So we have a very limited amount of in-precinct poll workers. The name submitted for Chief Judge is Ernestine Bryant. And then the two judge positions were in agreement with staff recommendation and the submissions by the parties of Nancy Payne and Mary Pulowski. This does keep this team together. And this would need a unanimous vote because of out of precinct poll workers.
I move we accept staff recommendations for NB01. Ernestine, Nancy, and Mary.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? Thank you. NB 02, Leland.
This is Lincoln Elementary School. There was one name submitted for Chief Judge, which also matches the staff recommendation of Cindy Martitius. And then the names selected for, or submitted for judges that you must approve are Karen Siegel and Doreen Shirey, because those names were submitted and they are residents of that precinct. So that is their home precincts. The other name submitted, that is not that voter's home precinct.
That was be Mr. Maggio.
Correct, that's not his home precinct.
We have a motion on this one.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we approve the staff's recommended staffing of Cindy, Merrick, Cindy, Karen, and Doreen.
Okay. And note that the must select is matches the staff's recommendation, or the staff recommendation matches the must select. All in favor of the motion? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. It's unanimous. NB 03, Town Creek.
Town Creek, the Democrat submitted name as an out of precinct worker. The Republican submitted name Doris Long is in precinct. So because there's an out of precinct and an in precinct submission for Chief Judge, you are required to take the in precinct selection. And I unfortunately do not know how to pronounce the other recommended, Melissa Santinidis. I apologize if that is not correct. Was submitted, as well as Jay Baver, I apologize. And that would need a unanimous vote because he is out of precinct.
So if you recommended Stan Hickson for Chief Judge and Melissa, why would you recommend Jay over Stan? Why is Jay a must pick?
No, he's not.
He's not.
Yes, he is.
Must pick us in the
Well,
purple.
Yeah,
I'm not-
he is listed as that. Yes, I recognize that.
he's in the pink.
You could, you are correct, and I apologize. You could select Stan Hickson as another voter because additional names in the precinct don't qualify or aren't found to be qualified. So you could select Stan over Jay.
And I was asking why you put Jay in there over Stan. Is there some reason that we should
Well,
prefer Jay?
That was an error in the must select line. You are correct about the must select line. You do not have to select Jay. You could select Stan. My staff recommendation was Stan Hickson for Chief Judge, Doris Long, and Melissa. That was the staff recommendation.
Do
So
you have any feedback on Jay?
And Melissa, I just want to make sure I understand. So you're saying that Stan could be put in as a judge in lieu of Jay, even though Stan's out of precinct?
Jay is out of precinct as well.
Okay.
So if they're not sufficient names, the board could
Wanted to make sure.
select.
I understand.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
that's my mistake on that chart. But if there are not sufficient names, the board can select a in-precinct voter if there's one available, or an out, if there's not one, they could select someone out of precinct. Jay has not worked before. Stan has.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
I make a motion that we adopt the staff's recommendation on this.
You have to select Doris Long as chief judge.
I was getting ready to say, doesn't Doris and Melissa, they have to be selected because they're in the precinct?
Correct. Doris and
Yes.
Melissa must be selected.
And
So
then
if we-
then we
if-
can add Stan.
Hmm.
That's the third.
Hmm.
Then we can add Stan as the third.
So basically, we're swapping Stan and Doris to what you have.
No,
to,
Stan and Jay.
Stan, if you select Doris, as the chief judge, then we have to take her out of being judge. So you're swapping,
Okay, let's use the pink line, Mr. Lewis.
swapping these two. He has to be there,
Right.
so we're moving him over here where.
No, Melissa has to be there. Has to be one of the two, so.
You have to select Doris as chief judge. You have to select Melissa as one of the judges. It is up to you whether you select Stan or Jay as the other judge.
So
There were no other in-precinct names submitted.
I'll move that we select Doris for chief and Melissa for judge. And we'll talk about the other in a minute.
I
I
don't
think
agree
we have
with
to do it all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if,
Okay,
We don't have
then,
to? Okay, we don't have to do it all together.
We don't have a choice in the first two, so we have to figure out the third.
right. And, okay, from what I understand, Jay has worked, no, Stan has worked, but Jay has not.
Correct.
And I made a motion to approve Doris, Melissa, and Stan. That's on the floor right now.
okay. So we have
You can turn, you can say no.
Doris Long for chief judge, correct?
Mhm.
Melissa,
Yes, Melissa.
yeah, I apologize, I can't pronounce the last name, as one of the judges. And then the third choice would be Stan Hickson as another judge. Is that correct?
That was my motion, yes.
Okay. Any discussion on that?
It's gonna have to be unanimous either way.
Yeah.
Or Stan, yes.
Melissa, what would this staff's recommendation be on that which we just proposed, or is in the motion?
On the motion, I would always, for a judge position, prefer someone who has worked before.
And then
Stan
we
has
need
worked
people to
before.
get experience too, so.
So we have
And this precinct is actually.
Doris, Melissa, and Stan in that particular order, is that correct?
Yeah, Doris and Stan can,
right.
sorry, Melissa and Stan, either way.
Are Doris and Melissa good teachers?
I'm sorry.
Are Doris and Melissa good teachers?
The three of them have been a team at that precinct. The previous chief judge has moved out of Brunswick County, so that's why either Doris or Stan would be new in that role because the former chief judge is no longer available. So they've worked specialty roles. Melissa is newer. She's worked one election, but she got great feedback from her chief judge.
I'm ready.
So we have a motion to approve Doris, Melissa, and Stan. Is there any other discussion on that? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. You got that one, Melissa? You ready?
Sure.
Okay. NBO 4, Belleville 2.
This is the Leland Cultural Arts Center. The names submitted, all match and they match staff recommendations. So Johnny Simpson, MJ Knox, and William Gallagher.
That's a easy one. Do we have a
Move we accept the staff recommendations.
okay. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, also unanimous. NB 05, Woodburn.
Woodburn votes the Navassa Community Center. Again, similar to the last precinct, the names submitted by parties match the staff recommendations. And those selections are Tina Kirby, Teresa Benton, and Lynn Hall.
Do we have a resolution on that one?
Yes.
Okay. We have a resolution to accept the staff recommendations for, motion, I'm sorry. For NB 05, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. NB 06,
Brunswick Forest. Similarly, the names submitted match staff recommendations of Deborah Watkins as chief judge, April Collins, and Arthur Kreis. This also keeps this team together. They work very successfully together.
I move we accept staff recommendations.
okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimously accepted. NB 07, Belleville 1.
Belleville 1, the name submitted for chief judge is Jacqueline Adair. And then the names submitted for the judge role that you would need to take would be Susan and Jerry Lynn because they are in precinct. It would need a unanimous vote for Jackie Adair as that is not her home precinct. That is the location where she has served consistently, and Jackie has been a long time chief judge.
Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the staff recommendation.
Any discussion?
No.
Hmm.
Okay, yes. Sorry.
No discussion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. SB 01, Bolivia.
This votes the cooperative extension. This will be closed, this election. We have very limited number of in-precinct poll workers for SB 01. So the names submitted do match, but we would require a unanimous vote for this precinct as well. Mark Leeds has been the chief judge for several elections at this location, as well as Tom O'Connor and Ron Curley. Ron is one of our few in-precinct workers.
And
Motion.
your note there, he does not want to serve as CJ, stops a lot of questions.
But this team enjoys working with one another, and Ron was pretty clear with me that he wanted to continue serving, but he did not want to serve as chief judge. He would prefer in the role that he has been serving at previously.
Okay.
All right, so I make a motion that we accept Mark Lees, Tom O'Connor, and Ron Quirley as the judges and chief judge of the Bolivia precinct.
Staff recommendation.
And
Any
staff
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you. All right. So glad we're not in Wake County that has 150 precincts.
You and me both.
All right. SB 02, Boiling Springs Lakes.
Votes at South Brunswick High School. This is another one of our precincts where the former chief judge has decided to step away from working, and his recommendation was Ed Peliquin, who has worked consistently in that precinct. Ed was the only name submitted for chief judge, and he would take a unanimous vote as he resides in another precinct. The other names submitted were Ken Campbell and Mary Pongonis, and they are both in precinct workers.
Move we accept staff recommendations.
Excuse me. Okay, we have a motion. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, unanimous. Thank you. SB 03 Mosquito 2.
Mosquito 2 is St. James, one of our busier precincts. There was one name submitted for chief judge. That's Kathleen Hawkins. She's been the chief judge there the past 2 terms, I believe, as well as George Johnson and Amanda Keel were submitted by the parties.
We have a motion?
I have a question.
Yes,
Do we have any feedback on Alfred Rose?
he has not worked.
He's
Uh,
never worked. So he hasn't
Torn
been
be-
like just even a poll worker,
No, he has not worked as a poll worker.
so coming in,
I'm torn between needing the experience
well,
to work and needing the experience for the future.
I would welcome him as a poll worker, absolutely.
Good idea. Okay.
I make a motion that we accept Kathleen Hawkins, George Johnson, and Amanda Keel, the staff recommendations for Judge and Chief Judge at Mosquito 2, St.
Okay.
James.
We have a motion. Any discussion? Yeah. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. SB 04 Southport.
Southport, the names submitted match the staff recommendations of Lisa Pomerantz. She's a longtime chief judge there, Nancy Smith and Linda Gilbert, specialists in that role. And they've worked, this is a team that's worked consistently together. Linda Gilbert would need a unanimous approval as she resides in another precinct.
Move we accept staff recommendations.
Got a motion?
Yes.
Okay. We have a motion to accept staff recommendation. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. SB 05 Southport.
Southport Elementary School, this is another chief judge vacancy from a chief judge who did not want to be considered again. Her recommendation was Chuck McClellan. I have spoken to him about taking on that role. So he was the only name submitted in the chief judge category. He would need to be approved unanimously as he is out of precinct. The one judge that you must take is Jerry McMillan. She was in precinct and submitted. The other name submitted was George Mulholland, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. He is an out of precinct voter. This is one that if you read the statute, if there are an insufficient number of names submitted, the board can choose a registered voter in that precinct to serve as a judge. And if that is insufficient, they can then select someone out of precinct, which is why I put Sandra Spencer in the pink and the staff recommendation, because Sandra is a longtime specialist in that role. It keeps the team together. I believe her to be a qualified in-precinct worker. And an in-precinct worker takes precedence over an out-of-precinct worker.
And Sandra was in precinct.
Yes.
All right, so I move to accept staff recommendations in Southport 2.
We have a motion. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. SB 06 Oak Island 3.
Oak Island 3, Folks at the Elks Lodge on Oak Island. The names submitted match the statutory requirements and match the staff recommendations. Michelle Noel Marquette, Karen Litchfield, and Terry Malott.
Move we accept staff recommendations.
We have a motion.
I did.
Dave made it.
I did.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
All right, I'll speak up. I move we accept staff recommendations.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. SB 07 Oak Island 2.
The names submitted, this is another example of the names submitted match what was recommended by staff and fulfill the requirements. Sandra Batson was the only name submitted for chief judge, Cheryl Bruce, and Alan Deary. And this is another example that keeps the team together.
All right, so I move that we accept these recommendations of staff in Oak Island 2.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. SB 08 Oak Island 1.
This is a precinct with a former chief judge decided she didn't want to be considered again. So this will be a new chief judge role. The name submitted of Barry Brown is in precinct. The other name submitted to be considered for chief judge is Rose Gibbs, and she does not reside in the precinct. So the statute requires that you must select Barry Brown. The other judge role submitted name was Mary Lou Barber. This is a case where you could appoint Rose Gibbs as the other judge because there were no additional names submitted. And I do not have a recommendation of someone in precinct to serve that role. Rose has served as a specialist in that role and has consistently received good feedback from the outgoing chief judge. So you could approve her unanimously because she's out of precinct in the second judge role. But for chief judge, you must select Barry Brown.
I move we accept staff recommendations for SB 08.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. WB 01 Waccamaw.
Our Waccamaw precinct will not be open this election. The name submitted, this is another precinct where we have very limited in-precinct poll workers. Very limited. Betty Hewitt is a longtime chief judge there. Her name was submitted. And then your two other judges, the names that were submitted are all out of precinct. So Amy Iva and Robert Dunn are all out of precinct. So whatever selections you make for the two other judge positions would need to be unanimous if you're selecting from that list.
Do you have any feedback on Iva Norton?
She has not worked as a poll worker.
Not even as a poll worker?
No.
And Amy and Robert have.
Amy and Robert have both served as judges in the previous election.
Thank you. All right, I'll make a motion to accept staff recommendations of Betty, Amy, and Robert as judge and chief judge of Waccamaw precinct.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. WB 02 Hickman Crossroads.
Voting at Jessie May Monroe Elementary School. The only name submitted for chief judge is Susie King. She would have to be approved unanimously as she is out of precinct. She is a long-serving chief judge, and she did serve in this particular precinct in the general election last year. The other names submitted you must select are Gail Barna and Christine Faust. Those names were submitted for the judge role, and they are both in precinct. So they would take precedence over the other names submitted for judge, which was Sharon Williams, because she is out of precinct.
Okay. A motion?
Yes, yes, move forward with the staff recommendation.
Okay. We have a motion to accept staff recommendation. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. WB 03 Longwood.
This is our Longwood precinct that votes Town Longwood Fire and Rescue. Again, this is a precinct with very limited in-precinct poll workers, very limited. So all of the names submitted for the judge roles are out of precinct workers. So whatever determination you make today, you would need to come to a unanimous consensus. Carol Kerr's name was submitted for chief judge, as well as Madeline Dubus. They have both worked before in specialty roles. Carol was the previous chief judge at this location. And then the other judges' names that were submitted were David Moyer and Sherry Goney. The Democrats did note that if Carol was not selected for chief judge, they would like her selected as a judge.
Do you have any feedback on Sherry,
She has not worked previously.
not even as a poll worker?
Correct.
All right, so I'm gonna make a, motion to accept the staff recommendations for Carol Kerr, David Moyer, and Madeline Dubus as judge and chief judge in the Longwood precinct.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? WB 04 Shingle Tree.
This,
Two.
this votes at the Brunswick Center at Calabash. The only name submitted for chief judge was Vicky Cron. The names that were submitted for the judge role of Barbara Brooks and Brenda Cavallini must be selected because they are in precinct. The other name submitted of Julie Gorham is out of precinct. So you would need to select Barbara and Brenda.
All right, so I move that we accept Vicky, Barbara, and Brenda as judge and chief judge in Shingle Tree 2 precinct.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? WB 05 Shingle Tree 1.
This precinct votes at Sunset Beach Community Center. The only name submitted for chief judge is Deborah Mora Ryan. She's a longtime chief judge of that location. The other names submitted for the judge roles of Diana, I'm not going to even attempt that last name, I apologize. Parigi, perhaps, and Julia Martinelli. Those names submitted are both in precinct, so they would take precedence over Ellison Waltemeyer because he is not in that home precinct. So Debbie Mara Ryan, Diana, and Julia Martinelli.
Okay. You have a motion?
I move we accept staff recommendations.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. And last but not least, Town WB 06.
Town precinct votes at Seaside United Methodist Church. The names submitted match the staff recommendations of Nisi Seaback as the chief judge, Sherry Monaldo as a judge, and Pat Davin as a judge. Nisi would need to be a unanimous vote because it is not her home precinct.
All right, so I move to accept the staff recommendations of Denise, Sherry, and Patricia, Town with judge and chief judge.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous?
If I could, Randy, I want to give kudos to Melissa and Jordan, who's learning this. I can't remember a smoother precinct appointment. That was really well done. Thanks,
Yes.
guys.
Yeah.
It's smooth.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any other business to come before the board this afternoon? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Oh, yes, I'd make that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And board members don't leave because Melissa
Fine.
has lots of things you need to sign.